and welcome back to the very first official episode of Meet Your Makers. Today I'm joined by the lovely
Ashley Delgado.
Today we're going to be talking about working moms and how we manage our busy lives inside and outside of. So let's just pretty much start off with the craziness of our schedules. I'm a mom of 3.
I'm a mom of 4.
And we work some crazy hours. I think it's kind of common in the IVF field. I'm not sure if many of our patients know it, but we work 7 days a week. We don't work consecutively 7 days a week most of the time, but we are open for 7 days that, somebody needs to be here on rotation. So, I don't think many people know how hard it is to be a mom of young children and leave your house at 5:30 in the morning, for me at least, to get here on time. And, it definitely takes a toll on you. So yeah, how is it for you? Do you get to do drop off or pick up?
Yeah, so I don't get to drop off my kids or pick them up from school, unfortunately. I commute to work as well. So it takes about an hour to get here in the morning, hour and a half to get home. By the time I get home, it's time to make dinner, bathe, and get the kids to bed. So that's basically.
And that is no easy endeavor. You work all day and you're exhausted and you go home, pick them up. I have the same schedule. It takes me about at least an hour to and from work. Get home, pick them up from school, get dinner ready, let them play, bath, and then bed. It's definitely, difficult. I'm sure your husband, same as mine, help out as much as they can, but they work as well. So I think that it's definitely very hard to find that balance of being the best mom I can be and also putting 100% into my job. I think I struggle with that the most. I work in the lab and Ashley works on the clinical side. So, I think we have 2 different universes, like when it comes to that, but workload wise, I think, patient care and, having to talk to patients, counsel them, answer any questions they have, plus on top of the lab work and the paperwork and the admin work, it's overwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah, I feel like, you want to be able to do it all. You want to be able to give the patients all of your time and be able to help them whenever they need it, which I think that we do a good job of doing that. But also, you want to be the best mom. You want to be the best wife if you're married. So it's kind of like a never-ending job. I feel like we literally work from the moment we open our eyes in the morning and when we go to bed at night. But also too, I feel like in our field, because of the fact that we're trying to help people become moms or dads, it's hard to complain.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? It's hard to be frustrated or, because that puts it into perspective or it gives you a different mindset and you're like, geez, people are fighting for what you have.
Absolutely, and they're constantly like, oh my God, you're so lucky, I can't wait to have kids of my own, which is, what we're trying to do for them. I'm on the same page, just in the back of my mind always is just like, instead of on a Sunday, instead of being at soccer practice with my kid, I'm at work. So like the mom deal just never ends for me. I feel like we work, we're open on holidays, especially the lab. Like even if we are not seeing patients on holidays, I need to come in and, do QC and embryo checks, biopsy, freezing. And then, if you work for a small group, rotating holidays is not, we are a small group, so like rotating holidays doesn't really exist, like, especially for small clinics. And we have an obligation to the patients, and I have an obligation to, the embryo life and culture to do my best and not, rush out of here to go see my kids. So I think, creating that balance has always been difficult for me. And I think, the older I've gotten, the more experience I've gotten, I think I've found like a pretty, good schedule to balance it all. But again, it really depends on your boss and the culture that you have at your job. I've had jobs in the past where they, preach about work-life balance, but there was none. I was, on call all the time and answering messages from home, and it's just so overwhelming. And I think like not enough people talk about it. It's not just hard for women; it's hard for men too. Yes, I think IVF is a woman-dominated field, but there are men, and I'm sure they feel the same way, where it's just so hard to give 100% in both categories without feeling like you're jipping one end of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not easy, and it's hard to talk about this at work too, because so many women are so sensitive about, and I mean, granted, you know, they've been trying to have a baby for how many years, and you know, they just want what you have, and to complain around them or even talk about it, I feel like they think that you're being insincere, you know, just not being considerate of their feelings. So I think it's definitely difficult for us, especially, to try to talk or even express how we're feeling. So it's kind of like we live two lives.
Right, and then also too, I think we deal with mom guilt, right, when it comes to our children, but also at work, in the workplace, like, you know, because I'm clinical, so I'm more hands-on with patients. I talk to patients every day, I see them, and it's hard not to have a conversation about regular life. But there's that guilt of being a mom and knowing that someone is struggling to be a mom. So it's like these two things, but I try to, you know, be empathetic or, you know, whichever word fits best, to them. And that's why I think I am so willing to give my all and pick up that call at whatever time at night or answer my email, because, you know, you feel bad. But then there's that scary part of like, I'm afraid to pick up my phone and my kids be screaming in the back and it be all chaotic, you know, because I know how bad they want that.
Yes.
And for me, I'm like, be quiet, I need to answer the phone.
And it's
impossible. Like, you go through all these emotions. I feel like it definitely is an emotional job that we have.
Absolutely. I think at this particular location that we work at together now, I don't have as much patient contact as I've had in the past. So I've connected with so many women. Like, I also do a good amount of per diem, so I do meet like lots of women who are, you know, trying to get pregnant and like jump from clinic to clinic, and you know, they reach out for advice. And you know, even though I'm so busy at home, I still, you know, take those calls and take those emails. And you know, it definitely takes a toll on your mental health, because you become friends with these people, these patients, and you see like what they go through, you know, losses and miscarriages, and you know, it gets personal for you, because you know, you work so hard to try and have success for them, and when it doesn't, you know, turn out that way, you know, it's sad. And personally for me, I've gone through a loss before with my first pregnancy, so I feel like that has given me such a platform for what I do, because I connect with, you know, these women, and I understand, like, everyone's like, oh, this lady's crazy, she's been here for, you know, how many cycles, and I'm like, yeah, you say that, you could think she's crazy, but like, I understand, like, when you have that baby and you lose it, and like, that's all you think about, and like, that's all you want, and it just drains you. And like, I kind of think like most women, like when they go through loss, like, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, it's like something that like you never forget. So like, even if you get pregnant again, it's all you're thinking about. So just to think about what these women go through and put themselves through to have a baby, it's just amazing to me. And you know, I love seeing women support women. So whenever I connect with patients, I always put myself in their shoes, because I understand, you know, what it feels like to want that so bad and like feel like you're never gonna have it. I think it's just so many people misunderstand what women actually go through when they're stimming, when they're on these medications. It's just so hard on them, and I just wish more people would be supportive and like understanding, like, yeah, she's crazy sometimes and irate, but you know, she's just going through the motions.
Yeah, because you're already emotional, and then we're putting all of these hormones in your body, which makes you feel like you're crazy, but you're not. It literally is the hormones making you feel that way. So that's why when like people break down and they cry, or like when we're about to do a transfer and they're so nervous, or retrieval and they're so nervous, I'm like, be nervous, cry, it's okay. Like, we get it, we get what you're going through. And I feel like this is such a good start to start off the channel, because it gives you an insight on us. Absolutely. And just because we work here, and just because we have kids and a family or whatever, it doesn't mean that we don't have a story as well. You know, like Jen said, we understand it in more ways than you know. So this gives us like, you can understand and see us more. Like, we're human too, and although we're not going through the process like you are at that moment, we're there emotionally with you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to remember, like, I know I've done IVF before I had kids. Were you in IVF yet before you had kids?
I was, yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember if it was easier back then, like when I didn't have kids, and I think it was harder for me to relate to what they were going through, but like I'm trying to think, like I obviously had way more time on my schedule. I wasn't like trying to get out the door to go see my kids or pick them up from school. So, you know, I don't think any part of the journey has been easy. I'm trying to like.
Yeah, I think it's like people like us who have been in the field for so long, you know, we're in it because we enjoy it. It's not just a job to us. I feel like at any point it's still hard. Yeah. And I remember it was hard for me before I had children. I was very young when I started in the fertility field. You know, I was like in my early 20s, and I remember like crying with patients and holding their hand and just like feeling so badly, or like you go home and you think about that person. I pray for patients, you know, like stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But when I first got pregnant, it was so hard because you're so attached to these people who are struggling. And I literally remember I hid my pregnancy as long as I could because I felt so bad.
I did the same thing.
It's like
wear baggy clothes because like you don't want them to feel bad.
Right, you don't want to hurt them, but then also too, it's almost like you're robbing yourself from that moment of like enjoying it or being crazy or like, you know, having the fears or whatever. But I remember one of the patients that I got really close with was like, she just noticed one day and was like, you're pregnant? And I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just like, ugh. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? I'm so happy for you. Yeah. And I was just like so emotional because I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought you were gonna be upset. I thought you were gonna hate me. You know?
No, I totally get that. I used to hide it too. I tried to hide under my scrubs, and then I would go do a transfer or like go talk to the patient about, you know, embryos, and they'd be like, oh my god, you're pregnant. Like, you know, I'm gonna take this as like a good, you know, good juju. Yeah. I have a pregnant embryologist, and they're gonna get me, you know, baby dust. And I do that regardless of being pregnant or not. But you know, I think it's a hit or miss because like some women, I think it would upset them to see you pregnant because, you know, they just want it so bad that I think that it's hard for them to be happy for somebody else. And you know, I completely understand that, and I'm just like you. I got into this field so young, right out of college. I got into the Ivf Lab, and I haven't looked back since. You know, I fell in love with this career, and I love connecting with patients, and I love being able to relate to them now that I'm a mom. And you know, what I went through really like just connected me with so many, put me on like a different level of like understanding what we do here, you know, creating families. And you know, I'm the same as you, same boat as you. I love what I do, and I would never be able to see myself doing anything else because I just wake up every day and I'm just like happy to come to work. I'm tired, but I'm happy to come to work. Like, I'm exhausted, don't get me wrong, but I just would never want to be waking up and doing anything else.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you just give those extra kisses and hugs because you know, you leave that work day and it's like,
yeah, you kind of hold your kids a little bit tighter when you get home, and
for sure.
How's your day, mommy? Like, how was work? And you know, they're a little too too small, my kids, to understand really what I do. But you know, I hope that they grow up and they understand, like, you know, why I loved my job so much. Maybe my kids, you know, maybe one of my kids will get into embryology.
Yeah.
And you know, I could share that with them. But when they're older, I can't wait to talk to them about this stuff and like teach them about the world of IVF, because I don't feel like it's a well-known field of work, like field of study for people, and I really think that the more people understand it, the more understanding they'll be, and like they won't, you know, make a stigma out of IVF in the women. That, you know, it doesn't have to be so private. Like, it does have to be private on some levels, but I think talking about it really, you know, opens up a lot of doors for people, and like will really help them out. But yeah, it's a crazy world that we work in, and you know, I wouldn't have it any other way, but I have to say it's definitely been a struggle to like find that balance and just be I feel like I'm a bad mom all the time, so like most good days outweigh the bad, but you know, it's so hard, and like, not that I should complain, because I'm sure nurses and doctors, they all have the same crazy schedules that we do, but I like spreading light on the topic. And
and just knowing that it's okay to feel like you don't have it all together.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel like everything is a mess. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
it doesn't matter as long as the love is there. You know, I think that is the most important thing. And
Yeah.
you love your kids, you give them the best, and like one day they're gonna look back and they're gonna think that you're a rock star.
Absolutely.
They're gonna
yeah.
appreciate everything you've done. And I remind myself of that, you know, like sometimes it's hard, especially when they get a little bit older and they start talking and they're like, where were you? Like
Yeah.
that stuff really hurts, you know,
Yeah.
or when they're like, you never pick me up from school, or you're never here in the morning when I
Yeah.
wake up. I'm like,
yeah, that's the worst part.
worst,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
it's all for them. It's
Yeah.
all for them to have what they have and to have a better future than what you had.
yes,
So
definitely.
you gotta keep pushing. And
Those are the worst phone calls. Like when I'm here, I get here at like 6:30, and then they'll call me at like 7:30 from their iPads on FaceTime. Like, where are you, mommy? Like, are you working? Like, and then if I do come in late one day and they see me in the morning, which I always try to avoid because I know it's gonna be a disaster, like a shit show. If they see me in the morning, and then they'll cry and like bang on the windows as I'm leaving the house, and like I just like, especially on the weekends, like I just like Sundays when I come in. It's hard. I want to come with you. Like, can I come to work with you? And then they're just calling me all day, and I try to sneak out
before they wake up.
I come on the weekends because I come in a little bit later to be, then I don't have to worry about traffic, and I'm always like, oh my god, they're gonna be awake soon. I need to get out the door. Like, especially my littlest, who like just turned 2. Like he just cries like as soon as like I call, even if I FaceTime him when he's with my mom, he just like cry on the phone because he just misses me so much, and it breaks my heart. Like I told her, like, don't FaceTime me anymore because like it's too hard for me to like see him crying and I have to be at work. So like, I know you're giving him enough love, so don't FaceTime me.
I feel like they like say these things, and I mean, I'm not saying that they don't mean it because they do, but I feel like then they move on to the next thing and they don't think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just to like justify us working. We have to work. That's just the way the world is now. And it's just, we are so lucky to do something that we love and not an office job that we just sit there all day and be miserable.
Absolutely.
But they don't remember. They have so much fun, and as long as you're there at the end of the day, I think that's what matters.
Definitely.
You always come back. Like that's what I always tell them. Mommy's always gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll always see mommy. Mommy will be here. Whenever it's important and something's wrong with you, mommy will be here. Whatever I have to do. So I just remind them of that so that they don't feel so like have this like separation anxiety and.
Yeah, I feel like when they were super young, like when they didn't really know the difference, it was okay. But now, like they notice when you're gone, like they want you at events and soccer practice and everything else. So, I think I like compared to how it was when they were younger, I was like, it's okay. Like I can work as much as you need me to work. I'll work overtime. He's a baby, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But now that they're older, it's more like, no, my priority has to be like, it can't just be work. It has to be work and the kids. But the kids come first because, that's your life. Like, this is a huge part of my life too. But, like, I don't want them to have to ever feel like I'm not going to be there for them. Or, like, I understand that when they get older, they'll be like, oh, mommy, sacrificed so much for me. She worked so hard for me to get me everything I needed. Yeah, but I also, I want to do that. And I also want to be present for everything. And, it's impossible, but, I'm trying my best to balance the two. And it's rough.
Yes, and especially when they're like babies, right? And like they do all of their first things.
Oh my god.
I was like a crazy person about that. I'm like, I miss it, and my husband's like, they're gonna do it again. And I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah, like his first steps, like all my kids, my mom recorded all of it and sent it to me on video. Like I was always working when they took the first steps. Like I saw like stumbles, but she took care of my kids when they were younger, so it made me so sad to like miss those milestones.
But then you make a big deal about it and you like celebrate with them so they know that
definitely
that it happened or that they did it.
It's wild.
Like I'm that crazy mom that they can do something so little
and
then I'm just like, yeah.
No, I'm the same
because
way.
I want them to know that they're important to me, and everything they do is important to me, even if it's like a silly little drawing or whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like I heard like some parenting advice the other day from someone, and they were like, don't make a happy kid happier. And I was like, well, I'm the complete opposite of that, because like I celebrate like every little thing, and I love everything, you know, because I'm not there for so much of it, that like when I am there, I'm just like you, like I want to make a big deal about it so that they know how proud I am. So I feel like, you know, I also struggle with like the whole like spoiling them so much, because I'm never around, so when I am, like I want them to know how much I care, which I don't need to show them by buying them things, but like I want to do everything with them and like amp everything up, even if it's something stupid, like going outside and riding our scooters. We do that every day, and I love it. Like it's like the best part of my day is like after dinner when we go out and play on the street, because you know I'm just spending that one-on-one time with them, and you know I'm missing out on all that during work. You know, helping people build families instead of being home with mine, and you know everyone has to work, so you know it's understandable. But like I think that if more patients also, you know, how understanding we are for them, if they could be more understanding of how that is for us, like when we answer those out of work emails and those phone calls and those text messages, you know, I'm gonna reply. I have so many patients that have my personal number, and they just call me for embryology advice all the time or text me, and I always answer. Like it might not be right away, but I answer, and you know, I know they appreciate that I'm taking time away from my family to help them out. But I think that there are a lot of bosses out there that take advantage of that, and fortunately we don't have to deal with that. You know, our boss is awesome, and he has a family, and he understands, you know, that, you know, that time is ours, but you get stuck working for somebody like that, and you know, it could ruin your whole life. So I definitely am so grateful for my experiences that led me to here, because not everybody has that kind of balance in their life, and you know, I lived through it, so I know what it's like to be on that side of the fence, and I would never go back to it. So
yeah, some patients are like, oh my gosh, you're here at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, yes, I will make the sacrifice to be here at 6:30 in the morning, or whatever, 6 o'clock,
so
whenever you want,
so
that I can get home at a reasonable time, and I can be the one who makes my children dinner, gives them a bath, puts them into bed. Because if I were to like, and I've come from a job like that where I start early in the morning, so I'm leaving before they wake up, and I don't come home until sometimes they're in bed.
And it's dark out.
Or or it's time for bed, and I'm just like, hi, after a long day, okay, let's get ready for bed. And I was just like, I hated that life. I was like, I cannot.
And then I feel like you take out, I was in the same position, and you take out your frustrations on the kids, because like you just worked all day and you're exhausted, and then if they're not behaving, you lose your shit on them, and then you feel terrible about it. So yeah, it's just so nice to not have to deal with that, and like I would never, you know, no money amount you could trade me to go back to that kind of life. I definitely think that like it's just so important to have a boss that understands and respects your time, because you know it's hard, you know, no matter how much you think people care about you, they don't care about your time as much as you do. So you know, it's something that I always keep in mind.
And I always make it known too.
Yeah.
I'm like, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I need a job. Yes, I need to pay my bills. But my children come first. My family is number one. So if I have to, emergency comes up and I have to run, I'm running without looking back. Like, you know what I mean? But I'll still get my work done. My family comes first, and that's always going to be.
And that's the way it should be. So, you know, I don't think I could think of anybody who would argue that point. So,
but it doesn't mean though that because we have that mentality, it doesn't mean that we care less. It doesn't mean that we don't care about the patient. It's just, you know, like it's our, like, I don't know how to say it with it not sounding douchey, because it sounds douchey. Like, I do care about the patients, and I am gonna respond, and I will get back, and I will do my job, but I just will never have my children feel abandoned by me.
No, definitely not. I mean, the perfect example is this weekend. I have my son's birthday party on Sunday, and you know, I'm on call, so we do our procedures on Sunday. So our doc is actually making, you know, all of our procedures super early so that I can get out of here and be home on time for my kid's birthday. That is like, you know, that is what, you know, the ideal boss and work environment you want. So like, and that is like a boss respecting the fact that you put your family first, and like that comes before your job. Like that, you know, is exactly what we were just talking about. He understands, like, hey, like she's not gonna, if it's gonna come down to my job or my kid's birthday party, I'm not gonna miss my kid's birthday party. And you don't have to say anything. They just, your boss just
Right.
understands that that's gonna come first, and to be able to express that and like know that like he cares and that he respects your boundaries, it's so big for me. Like my first real senior position as an embryologist, the first thing that they asked me on my interview was, am I married and do I have kids? Literally,
they know,
in the
like,
meeting,
how-
like they want to know, like, are you married, do you have kids? Because they know, like, are you going to give me 100? Like, I think it's just a stigma, like, just people think you're married and you have kids, you're not going to give 100%. That's crazy. Like, I work my regular job and I do per diem on the side, and I have 3 kids under 5, and I do it, and I have a side business that I also run. So, and my husband works nights, so I do most of it by myself in the evenings, and he's there on the weekends, but. It's like it blows my mind that, especially women, like other women in the workforce, expect you to work like you don't have kids. Like they expect you to work like you're single and have no children to take care of and you're just a slave. And it's just not right. And I wish that everybody would change their ways.
Yeah, I agree. We're so lucky with, who our boss is, because he's so understanding. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm being punked, legit. Like, I'm like, is this real?
Yeah, like this.
Like, please tell me if this is real, because he's just the nicest guy, and it's so genuine. It's not like, yeah, your family's first, and then it's like, no, she can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's just real, and that's hard to come by. If you find a job like that, don't let it go, because
I'll never leave, because I get treated so good. And that's why it's either one or the other. You treat your employees so good that they never want to leave, or you treat them bad and you pay them well so they don't want to leave. And it's like, which one do you prefer? And it's like, I prefer a boss that's going to treat me so well I don't want to leave, and the money comes second. It's not about the money for me. Like, yeah, when I was younger and just got into this field and needed to be trained, I was like, you can pay me whatever you want. I worked like 100 hours a week. I didn't take days off, because I just wanted to get my training in, and I just worked my ass off until those 4 years. I did nothing but work. And now I can sit back and relax, because I needed those years to get to where I'm at. I didn't mind working for somebody who wanted me to work like that. Like, I didn't have kids. I didn't have kids at the time, and now it's changed, and some people need to go through that transition. But I think that a lot of employers make it so hard. Especially if you are young and you're older getting into the field, they make it almost impossible for you to be able to do both. And that, that's something I wish would change in this field.
Which is silly, though. It's silly for people to think that because you have children, you're not going to give 100%. I feel like opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like you have so much to live for. You have so much to fight for. You have reasons to work and make money. Where, like, if you're young, you're either like, I just don't care, I just need a job, I want money, or in your sense, you're a hard worker and you're like, this is for my future, I'm gonna work my butt off so that I can, So like, I think it's so messed up to put us in that like kind of box, because no, just because I'm a mom of 4, like I come in here and I work my butt off because of those 4 kids.
Yeah.
So
I don't take lunch or breaks just so I can finish early and go home.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not that I don't get breaks. Like, I could take a break whenever I want, but I know if I don't take that 20-minute break, 10-minute break, I'm gonna get out a little bit earlier and I can get home to my kids. And when I'm at work, work is work. Like I concentrate and I put 110% into everything I do in the lab, and then when I go home, I put all that energy into the kids. But again, you were so drained after work, and then like I feel like I often I feel like I'm giving my all to them, but then let's go outside and play, mommy. Oh, I'm really tired. Let's just stay inside and watch a movie. So like it's just stuff like that just makes it really difficult.
Or you find me falling asleep on the sofa, and they're like, Mom, are you awake? And you're like, yes.
I've only seen this movie a million times.
I know, like I just quoted
like Luca or something, like obsessed with that movie, but. I mean, it's great. I wouldn't trade this life for anywhere, anyone, any other life, any other version of my life. Like, everything happens for a reason, and I'm so grateful for, everything that's led me to this point. And I think being a mom has only made me a better embryologist, a better person. Helped me connect with my patients so much more. Everything I've gone through emotionally with the loss I had, like everything has just come full circle for me, and I'm so excited to share all this with you all. And
For
more
sure.
to come. You know, I'm so excited for the rest of the topics that we're gonna have to cover. But please comment, you know, guys, and give us questions and, you know, topics that you want to hear from. We're, you know, super excited to make more episodes for you guys and, you know, talk about everything under the moon.
Just a side note before she closes out, I just want to leave you with some encouragement and let you know that at the age of 24, I was told that I was not going to be able to have kids, and I have 4. So I leave you with that little piece of hope, because don't let that be your final answer. Like, it is possible in most instances. I don't want to say always, because there are, you know, certain situations, but just keep fighting. We're here for you.
We're always here for you. And no matter how many losses you have, you know, what you go through, you just have to get up and, you know, keep pushing forward. You know, don't ever give up on yourself, and don't give up on the dream you have. You know, you want children, you know, you can find a way to have children. And, you know, I hope that you come and create more of your family with us. That could be a dream, but, you know, any IVF center. But, you know, we just want to make sure you guys know that we support you and we're here for you, and we hope that you understand how much we take personally everything we do here, and we share your stories with you. We love you guys. All right, so please don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. We hope you join us again for the next episode, and have a great day, everybody. Bye. Woo.